Now this one, we're going right back into Marvel because after talking about like Brave New World,
let's go into this.
Yeah,
one
this is
their TV. This is their bread and butter when they first started on Netflix doing TV.
Which we knew this was not going to be the same level as Netflix.
No,
it was never going to be.
No,
but there is something that was interesting because when you take a look at the opening, at the actual intro, like the way the city, everything's falling apart, but Daredevil is being rebuilt. This is going to show, like, when you look at it, you can almost see the metaphor of how, like, everything from that was around him before from Netflix is crashing down, and now he's being brought back up into Disney. And it's kind of a metaphor for that, but there could be other metaphors mixed in there because, you know, you can also take it as he's having to rebuild who he was after some losses, because we're going to get into some spoilers.
Yep.
So as a spoiler, you know, which I don't know if he is or isn't dead, but they do show Foggy which it looks like Foggy gets killed at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Now, granted, there are comics where Foggy went and he basically faked his own death. So could this be in there? Could it be? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see how this all plays out because you have to remember Daredevil Born Again had reshoots done. They had done a bunch and then they scrapped it and tried redoing to fix the issues. The fight sequence at the beginning felt very reminiscent of the style from Netflix.
And even the end of season 3 there.
Yep. And even then seeing Fisk show back up, and it's now, we know this is after Echo.
Yes.
So we're actually seeing like a lot because this is like, supposedly, I would say, what is this, like a year after
Echo?
Yeah.
Maybe at least a year, maybe 2.
Well,
give or take. But at least
after after the beginning with Foggy getting killed, it says a year later.
Yeah.
So is it really a year since the Netflix show, or is it a year since Echo? Which, because it all depends on how long is it that it took for Fisk to be recovered after being shot in the eye. So there was that. There was so much going on in the episode. You see the relationship between him and Karen is kind of falling off to the wayside. She went to
Frisco.
Yeah. So we're seeing like a lot of stuff that's going on. You've got replacement characters there, but oh my God, Charlie Cox does an amazing job.
He's so good as Daredevil.
He stepped right back into the character, and it did such a great job, especially after Karen gives him the piece of the devil horn from his helmet, and he just keeps rubbing that within the second episode. It's like he's got it in his pocket. Like the fight sequences are amazing. Seeing him sitting across the table from Wilson Fisk, having them talk, just a conversation with the little jabs of like one's threatening the other one, and it's like, which cat and mouse game are they playing? Who's
going to win the game of chicken?
Yeah. And that's the thing. This is really that like step up moment of Marvel is back with their series. If Marvel finds a way, and this is my opinion, you tell me what yours is, Jimmy, but my opinion really is that if Marvel kind of goes along with the gritty nature of similar to Netflix, even if they tone it down just a little bit, if they keep this kind of style the way the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again, all the shows will be a hit if they're able to keep this kind of tone. If they change the tone too much, they're going to start having more issues.
Because they've already, like I said, I already given you the synopsis from the Russo brothers.
Yep.
Marvel News has also put out announcements for everything next year, and it looks like season 2 of that is coming. A special Punisher.
Yep.
The season 2 of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man and X-Men 97. They're going to skip this year with them, which I'm like,
I'm okay with that.
Yes. I'll give it to them.
You got to realize we've got a lot of stuff coming out this year alone. So all the stuff that's coming out this year, I think they're starting to realize people are starting to get a little fatigued. You can put out a Spider-Man cartoon at any time.
Yeah.
You can put out an X-Men cartoon at any time. But I think holding it back a year for X-Men 97 for season 2 is probably the smart idea, because it'll get us closer to when they do bring mutants into the MCU fully.
Well, I know. Well, that's the question of the day.
Well, that
Everybody
is supposed to be what comes after the Avengers Doomsday incident and all that. The next phase is the introduction of mutants.
No.
So,
And if you think you know who the first mutant will be, you can email us at
DragoonsLairPodcast@gmail.com. That's all one word. Dragoon is spelled with 2 O's. That's DragoonsLairPodcast@gmail.com.
because everybody's going to say Wolverine, and guess what?
That may not be the case.
Nope. You're right. Everybody wants to say Wolverine. No, I don't think so, Tim.
Technically speaking, they've already introduced what could be considered the first mutant that we know of, which would be Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan.
Yes.
So, because they did say at the end of her show that she's not like, she was a mutant.
Yeah.
There was a mutation in her DNA. So that could say something, because
I hope they bring her back, actually.
you know, and that's the thing. Like, she was a good actress.
Yeah.
I feel like the MCU kind of screwed the pooch, because dropping a bunch of stories because, oh, you didn't plan it out properly. I don't think we should lose, like, Ant-Man and Ant-Man 4. I don't think losing the Marvel's movie number 3 is a good idea, but I'm not the one in charge. So we'll see what happens there.